Criticism yesterday greeted the high number of delegates Nigerians sent to the ongoing conference of the parties at the COP28 climate summit in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates, at a time of austerity that the federal government was urging the citizenry to make more sacrifices. Nigeria accounts for 0.319% of global carbon dioxide emission, but our 1,411 delegation is joint third largest with China after host nation UAE with 4,409 and Brazil with 3,081. The official delegate of some top countries to the COP28 are the United States, 159, Canada, 187, Japan, 255, India, 725, United Kingdom, just 75, and European Union, 124. Recall that Africa accounts for only 4% of global carbon emissions, despite being the continent which suffers most from the climate change. Picking holes in the number of delegates Nigerians sent to the summit, opposition parties and some civil society organization has demanded a roll call and cause incurred by the federal government, and also urged the National Assembly to probe the incident. However, the presidency also clarified yesterday that only a handful of the 1,411 Nigerian delegates who registered to attend the COP28 climate summit in Dubai are sponsored by the federal government. But that seems not to be quelling the bitter response from Nigerians, especially from the social media, over the significant presence of Nigerian delegates at the ongoing United Nations Climate Conference in Dubai. But the big question on the big story for today is, should government not be responsive when it comes to cutting down costs, and should the huge number cut down the successes gained by this administration at the sideline of the summit? Well, these and more as it concerns the COP28 summit and Nigerians' participation is what this edition of the big story is all about. And we're talking about Nigeria and the COP28 climate summit and successes and criticism. That's what we're having as a major discourse today on the big story. We're looking at that COP28 summit held in Dubai, Nigerians' participation, the successes at the sideline, and also the criticism that seemed to have greeted that very huge number of delegates at that very summit. But anyway, to sum it up and also help us look at it, we have two guests. Join us in the studio is no other but our very own comrade FM&TV. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning. I'm also going to be part of the delegate to the next COP25.
Well, I know you'll be adding to the numbers, and one I'm quite sure Nigerians will criticize.
Why don't you think I will not go with my wife and my
Okay, but anyways, as much as he makes light of it, we're also being joined via phone all the way from Abuja by no other but Barrister Ejiro Itagede. Good morning and welcome to the show. Hello, Barrister Ejiro Itagede. Okay, we'll see how we can really bring him on board, and when we do, I will be getting his reactions as it concerns some majors, especially as we look at that very COP28 summit. And I'm not just looking at the recent criticism, but also some of the successes we gained at the sideline of that very summit. My PD is telling me we have him on board, and let's see how we can drag him and also be a part of the discourse. Yes, Barrister Ejiro Itagede, good morning to you.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
The network is bad.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, we'll see how we can really rectify that, and when we do, we'll be having Barrister Ejiro Itagede joining us all the way from Abuja. But let's quickly come to you. And Comrade FM&TV, I'd rather we start this discussion with the reaction coming from the presidential candidate of the Labour Party at the 2023 general elections, and that is Mr. Peter Obi. In a post on X, which we formerly call Twitter, the ex-governor of Anambra State described the sending of over 1,400 persons to the summit as a waste of scarce resources by the Tinubu administration. He lamented that the huge contingent in Dubai at a public expense at the time when most Nigerians can hardly afford food and basic needs end up saying that most of these persons are either non-relevant civil servants or relatives of high government officials. But I want your reaction rather to it. That's his own reaction to the huge number that greeted the spending of Nigeria and that very delegation, sending them to that very summit. But I'm really concerned about your own reaction. Is it waste or is it essential that those numbers have to go there?
Mike, I know I sat very well when you were reading that question out, actually. What are we doing with that number?
8,411.
8,400. I did ask the question during the last session, just this immediate past session. Will the hull be enough to contain the Nigerian contingents? And how many aircraft moved these people to the COP28? Who paid the cost of all those expenses? Okay. And they are going to be there with tacos and other issues like out-of-pocket expenses. Who is going to bear the cost of all this? And how many of these delegations are actually permitted to speak at that conference? Why do we go there as a jamboree? We did not even go to watch a football match. We didn't go to Maracana, neither Old Trafford, neither Wembley. We went for something that would be of economic value to the nation. Okay. And you are going with almost a population of a whole state. How does it speak well of us? We are here crying that we are on an economic meltdown. Austerity measures everywhere. Eating is a problem to so many families. I don't know whether it's inclusive, but I know that I do change my diet from 101. You know, it's no longer that can be hidden. Any sickness that is attached to your nose, you cannot hide it because nothing covers it. Your eyeglass that you're putting on cannot cover it, neither can your cap do. So if we are going for such a summit that is of importance to the nation, the way it was, very, very important to the nation, we should be able to cut our sizes.
So you feel it's more of a waste rather than essential?
It's more of a waste because all those money that you're going to spend over there will plug one or two things. Then they will tell you that why should the smoker complain that he could not build? Is it because of the money used in buying cigarettes? It may be small, but by the time you gather them, it becomes something very light. When we were in school, we just sing a song. Little drops of water is what makes the mighty ocean. Little bit of kindness is uplifting us the way we are now. 1,400 delegates multiplied by how much is a ticket to the United Arab Emirates now? Per head, multiplied by 1,400. How many millions, if not billions, will it give to you? Then start talking about the tacos. Start talking about the hotel expenses. And not only that, you are going to these people to beg for debt relief. You are going to meet them for investment. And when they see that you are a frivolous spender, how do you think somebody will want to come and invest in that type of economy, knowing fully well that you can use your money for jamboree, you can use it for partying and every other thing? They will be skeptical in giving. So
you're really against the numbers that were
very, very, very against.
Okay, now let's see if we bring Barrister Ejire Itagene to it. Hello, Barrister Ejire Itagene, can you now hear us? Hello, Barrister Ejire. Okay, well, we're really trying to see how we can reconnect with you.
Hello.
Better now. Can you hear me now?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
So the problem.
Hello.
Barrister Ejiro.
Hello.
We can hear you loud and clear, but I doubt if you can. Can you hear me now? Hello? Oh, we're really having issues with those connections as it concerns us getting it. Well, he's joining us all the way from Abuja, but we'll see how we can really pull that through because we're really keen to have his reactions as it concerns not just that number of delegates that went to the summit, but also some other major sideline or important sideline agreement that we had on account of that very summit. But let me quickly come back to you and let's look at it. Now, for Nigeria, climate change is not just about the perils of tomorrow. That funny enough, it's happening now and today. And with a record of almost $3 billion lost in the last 2 years on account of climate change impact on the country, should the numbers really matter? Yeah, should we be concerned about the numbers that went there, or rather we should rather talk about the positive gotten from the summit? Because with what we know, we are the biggest country in Africa. We have the biggest economy. So to say, we still have the biggest economy in Africa. And we have one of the biggest stake in climate action as a country with a huge extractive economy. So it's no brainer that delegates from Nigeria will normally be more than every other delegate from Africa, because we have more to lose than every other African country. So on that account, should the numbers really matter? And normally it's no brainer that we need to get such large numbers, knowing that the impact would affect us more than every other African country.
Is it the number of people that will make the impact to be more effective? We are talking about economic gains. Then you are talking about the number of people that will attend the summit. Out of all this number of the people, like as I asked you earlier on, how many of them were given the opportunity to address even two persons? How many of them were given opportunity to stand before the podium to speak to the people? Or did they just go in there to see what their president, or Mr. President is saying?
Okay.
How many people do you need to make a change? You don't need the whole country to make a change. It's just few people to do it. If out of all these people, if Mr. President has selected, seasoned, even 100 people that will come there and give us what we want, it's better than the 1,100. Too large a crowd is very difficult to manage. Some of them will be disgruntled. Oh, I did not allow me to speak. No, what this guy said is wrong. Hold on, I should have done it this way if I had been there. We don't need that large number, Mike. Because if you are going for to ask for favor, you don't need to go there extravagantly, because the person that you're asking for the favor from,
the MTN number you have dialed is not reachable,
will be more of an issue.
Yes, it will be more of an issue. Because I cannot tell you like I cannot tell you that I am broke, and every day you see me with Mr. Biggs.
Okay, no. If you feel that's the case, now let's look at it and really look at the persons that went there.
Yes.
Now, apart from the government delegates, which the federal government is saying they spent about that sum on just 590. Other persons went on their own accord. So is the reaction coming from the federal government just this morning that the 1,400 was not basically theirs. They only spent for 590. But looking at that number, for example, someone that was also a part of that summit during the whole period is no other but Tony Elumelu, the chairman of the UBA group. And not only him.
I hear you.
Now, hello, can you hear us now, Bryce Ejiro? Hello? Okay, we'll try and see how we'll bring him on board, and we'll do that. And not only that, the chairman of BUA Group, we're talking of no other person but Alhaji Abdul Rabiu, and other billionaire businessmen and women were also there, promoting sustainability and climate actions through their philanthropic push. And that's not just only that, they went there with their own staff. That's the one made up the 1,400. And not only that, we know they signed important business deals at the sideline. So should we be more concerned about the numbers, the strong numbers that went there, rather than the strong gains attributed on this number of persons that went there and that will be coming to this country? The gains we're talking about.
The gains, we made a lot of impacts, a lot of inroads.
So should that not be what we should be looking at?
We should not only,
but rather than looking at the numbers.
We should not be looking at one side only. We are looking at both sides, at the pros and the cons of it. Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry.
The number of people on the train,
yes,
it's a major concern. The gain they made.
Yeah, sorry about that.
The issue now is what we are getting from these people, that is from the international communities now, is what we have been craving for a very long time.
Okay.
All these people that have traveled. Though yesterday I read something about Reno Mokri, he's one of the write-ups.
Okay.
That those people were not fully sponsored by the
federal government. Because that's what the federal government said. Just 590 were sponsored by the government.
But the suspicions of every Nigerian, including you and I, is the way we have been doing things. If we have not been doing things this way, nobody will raise eyebrow over this. But you cannot simply convince somebody that these people travel on the delegation of Mr. President and they paid for themselves. Not that.
But somebody like Lumelu said he paid for himself.
It does not matter. There is no
way. Group chairman
as
saying
big
he
as
paid for
Atlantic Ocean is, does it reject rainfall? If you are saying because the man is very rich, I'm not saying that the federal government paid for him, but it is not also 100% argument that because he's rich he paid for himself. No, government money is government money. Government job is government job. You have to be paid for any job done. That is the norms of wages and salaries. So
irrespective, because of the large numbers, Nigerians still have every reason to doubt the federal government's sincerity of not paying for this person.
Exactly. Even if you can sponsor people from here to on pilgrimage and the federal government pays, how do you now say that somebody within the people paid for himself? No, there was when it was my turn, very few people paid on their own. They paid into the federal government's account. The federal government paid to the pilgrimage board. But it is assumed that federal government paid for every one of them. Yeah. What should have so it is the nerve of Nigerians was out of this number of people, those who are going, they should have been able to come out with a clear-cut explanation to the whole nation. That is what is raising all this.
On account of them being there.
Exactly. This is what this person is going for, and this is why he's going. This is the person responsible for his going, and that's all. Because when information is being hidden from the public, rumors take the center stage. Well,
anyway, it will take center stage because we need to look at some other major issues. I don't know if we've now finally got connection with Barrister Ejiro Itagene and to see if we really want to get his thoughts as it concerns that huge number, knowing that he also had a strong understanding of the COP28, and that was even one of the reasons he's there in Abuja. Hello, can you now hear us? Is it any better? Well, the network really is not friendly today, but we'll definitely see how we can make amends. Maybe we won't come back from the short break. We'll see how we can do that.
Are we on break now?
Yes, we are. You want to add to it or what? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
You know what is happening now is not different from when we had the administration of Obasanjo, when Jim Nwobudo was a sports minister at a point in time.
Okay.
When they were having the big FIFA under 17, Jim Nwobudo went with his wife, with his twins, with his house helps, and the backroom staff. So it has snowballed into what is happening today. If that thing could happen then, and the federal government paid all the bills, why do you think that you and I will not think today that the same federal government is paying the bills for this 1,000?
But Obasanjo is not Tinubu.
Obasanjo is not Tinubu. Has the system changed? If the system has changed, what positive has come to the economy ever since? What have we actually achieved as a nation? Apart from the rising in prices every day, we have to bear the cost. We have to sit and watch some people squander this money. I told you last week, I saw a governor when I was traveling with about 30 tinted jeeps in a convoy. What are those jeeps doing? Some of them may not even have more than the driver and one person. Some of them may not have more than the driver in it. And you are putting those vehicles on the road because I want to be seen. I want the governor to see my face that I was there. Or I want to be in the entourage of the government. Don't forget, the wear and tear of that vehicle is government expenses. The fueling is government expenses. The OP, the out-of-pocket expenses, the government expenses. And by the time they get to where they will sit down, some of them will not even leave their cars. Some of them will not even sit in the canopy where people will sit there.
So all you're saying is just wasting.
It's just waste all resources.
And you feel 1,411 delegates is more like waste for us.
It's not more like it is a waste for us. If they have plowed that money into various companies in Nigeria, it will have revived so many sectors.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll revive that discussion because we need to go on a break now. But when we come back, we'll continue our talk as it concerns the COP28. We're not just looking at the written criticism as it concerns the huge number of delegates that were sent to the summit on account of doing many issues, especially those at the sideline of the summit, but also we'll be looking at some other major gains attributed also at the sideline of the summit. And the one major one that is already getting most Nigerians excited: you will not want to go anywhere. Stick around and we'll come back and have more discussion.